Yes, I mean, I am proud of being a team player, but I really feel like a twat. And in my real job, I kind of am fighting scams and abuse. And some people in the industry don't like that. They're making a lot of money, and they attribute things that I may or may not have said as though they're sort of commands, as though I'm like the lord of the internet. So I've sort of thought of this as an alternative. This is my official costume as lord of the internet. So, welcome to the internet seriously from Lucien, lord of the internet, thane of HTML and CSS, and king of node libraries and routers.
And Emily Taylor in Oxford.
Kieren McCarthy in London. I'm not sure I'm lord of anything, but I am taking you very seriously, Lucien.
Coming up, I've got to take this off because the bells are just ringing. This is crazy. I feel like I'm in I feel like I'm in a bloody pantomime. Coming up today on the internet, seriously.
Wear this one instead.
Thank you. This week, our presenters, me, Emily and Kieren, pick our top 3 highlights for the podcast this year since we were launched. I think that's absolutely awesome. I haven't seen that, chaps. That is our potential Christmas number 1. But we must come back to that, Kieren, because I've actually got a public apology to make for my innuendo about the Lib Dems' the potential number 1, whereas in fact it was from put together by a charity, young carers choir.
We felt really great for having a good sneer at that.
Yeah, but actually we were ribbing Kieren for not knowing the words from his own party's potential Christmas number 1.
I listened to the whole thing yesterday, and it is really good, and and they're amazing singers, but I can't remember it. I'm afraid I can't remember the tune. Can you remember it, Kieren?
Yeah, I've had a funny thing where I listened to it a bunch of times and I couldn't get it out of my head.
Oh.
And then this morning I thought, does it go again? I mean, it really is hard to create a song that sticks in your head really, really well. But it is a good song.
I heard Benny and Bjorn from ABBA being interviewed way back. And the interviewer was like, so do you record things? Do you write them down when you're in your little hut writing things? And they said no, because if we can't remember it the next day, it's no good.
Before we get on with the heart of today, please subscribe to our channel. Click the thing that way or that way. And please join us and follow us. We're building up a crowd. More about that later. So this week, the presenters picked their top 3 moments this year since the launch of our podcast. And we start with Kieren.
All right. So, my top 3 moments.
Pardon me.
We've had some fun guests on. Actually, you've had some really interesting guests on. But one of my favourite moments, which is sheer shock value, was Sari Shaw. She talked about having been kidnapped in China and sort of bundled off the back. She's an American singer. And she was invited to go to China. It was all above board and legit. She was doing a couple of shows, and she told the story really well. She was bundled out the back of the stage and shoved into a trunk and driven away. and then they sort of, someone in her record company paid a ransom for her to be released. And then they wouldn't tell her how much in case it affected her ego about how much she was worth. I just thought it was absolutely nutty story.
Yeah.
That I just, it seems just.
And this is
great. Sari was
this
great.
was our first guest.
Our first guest, yes, indeed. She was amazing.
Yeah.
She was an amazing guest, wasn't she?
Yeah, Kieren. She was. I really enjoyed that, and so I'm keeping track of when she's playing next in the UK. She's playing in May, so I'm going to go and see her, and because I really enjoyed that. Anyway, so that was one of my highlights, was chatting away to not just to her but to a lot of guests. But that story was nuts. And then my second was one of our Room 101s, which I think several people mentioned, which is printers. You know,
Printers.
printers, and we used to print everything. I mean, now we have the internet. We don't print as much as we used to, but everything used to be printed back to old Gutenberg, and now they just don't work anymore.
No, we have computer-mediated lawnmowers. We saw one that cost £14,000 riding round Ditchley Park.
That was
and
amazing.
it self-recharges itself. It goes back to home and then back out again. And it just works 24 hours a day and night like a slave.
Like a dream.
Yeah. And we managed to get robot lawnmowers, but we can't get something that you just put a piece of paper in it, press the button, and it prints. That's all we want.
It's not that hard. We've already
faulty.
figured it out. We already did it.
We did it
a long time ago. After everyone was like, "Good, we sorted that out."
It's like that Lord of the Rings thing, where it's like things that should never have been forgotten were forgotten.
Yeah. So there's a million multi-millionaires potential second Elon Musk, the person that invents a printer that can fucking print.
That wasn't very Christmassy language, Lucien.
That wasn't. I apologise for un-Christmassy language. We can beat that out later. But it's that much anger.
Honestly, it will be the younger generation. They will go blow their minds, and it will be like, there's this new thing. They've called it a printer. And it will just
I command.
It will just be a matrix printer, and then everyone will go, "This is incredible."
As Lord of the Internet, I command that all printers are either removed or made into something vaguely functional.
Good. So that was my second highlight. And then my third one is when you two actually weren't there, the one episode that you weren't there.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Yeah, that's really nice.
Well, the boys did good because they came up with an AI music challenge.
Oh, yeah.
And there was three of us.
But first of all, do you notice that he said the boys did
And
good?
it was the boys, let's face it. When we weren't there, where were the girls? Where were the girls?
They're not clever enough to do AI.
It was an all-male panel.
No,
this is a manel.
It's a manel. But do girls do AI?
Yeah, girls do AI. Yeah.
Oh, name one.
Joe.
What?
Joe and
Name
I were
one
talking
AI.
about AI this morning. All the AIs are girls with big boobs.
Oh, right.
In the
Fairly
movies.
true.
All right. Yeah. Your bridge into your topic, Kieren.
Yeah, no, but so they came up with, I can't remember how many it was now. I think it was 5 songs. Some were real songs and some were AI generated songs. And we had to we had to sort of vote whether we thought they were real or not. And we hadn't heard them before. And
did you win?
It was Nathan won with 5 out of 5. I got 4 out of 5 and Mark got 3 out of 5. But what was fascinating.
Mark is a programmer. Yeah. He's our senior engineer and a musician.
That's what was.
And we just went and saw him in a church where he's conducting a whole choir, and so he really knows about music. So obviously he's going to be able to tell the difference.
He's an incredible musician.
Yeah, so that was the real eye-opening thing, is that we sort of somewhat arrogantly had said, yeah, but you can always tell.
Yeah.
And
I think we're hearing a bit of AI-ish. That was nice. Thanks for that. Yeah, no, this is real. So, and now some AI?
That's AI.
Oh, apparently that's AI.
That's the AI. The one that got me out was the opera singer. And I just didn't know that AI could actually do that style of voice now. And it could. That's what caught me out. So, and the giveaway was that the lyrics were so bland, it was no point in singing them. So, but that was just really fascinating. We really are in this world now where AI is you have to really listen or really think about checking it. This one,
yeah. Amazing.
In my life, not everything goes right.
Yeah, we were at the Global Anti-Scam Summit, and they played some videos, because they're showing that scammers are using AI to track people, and everyone's like, I can tell the difference, and people couldn't.
So thank you very much, Kieren. So we've had Sari Shaw as your number 1, 101 chuck away printers, and then finally AI. Now, the guys, whenever we've seen them for the last week or two, have been sniggering and not talking and kind of hiding in a room. So I think there's something coming up.
Yes.
Dramatic pause.
It's a black screen
at the moment. Scammers will just find ways of hacking everything, and even AI isn't that bright. Even AI.
and even AI's background.
Lucien's on the mic. Kieren's dropping clues. Emily brings the spice with tech and AI news. Cyber threats galore. Hackers on the way. The internet's a wild frontier. We're here to save the day. All internet, seriously. Tech talk through the night. Lucien, Emily, and Kieren make the future bright. All internet, seriously. AI and cyber frights. From sports to online safety, they're slaying it just right. Passwords getting hacked. Bots that write your prose. Will AI take the planet? Nobody really knows. Kieren keeps it fun. Emily keeps it smart. Lucien ties it all together with a festive heart. Oh, internet, seriously, tech talk through the night. Lucien, Emily, and Kieren make the future bright. Oh, internet, seriously, AI and cyber frights. From spooks to online safety, they're slaying it just right.
Oh, yeah.
Should you trust the cloud or keep your files near? Kieren's got the answers and plenty of tech cheer. AI's writing songs, but who's behind the screen? Lucien's got a theory that'll make you wanna scream. Oh, internet, seriously, with tales of tech and fears. From hacking to encryption, they've got your back this year. Oh, internet, seriously, a podcast full of fun. With Lucien, Emily, and Kieren, the future's number one.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
I must say this is terrifying and also like it is actually incredible. I mean, this has been put together, I believe, over a number of days rather than a number of weeks. Some of it has bits that are just shit of people, bits of Emily or me, and just looking
and
really.
like, who have you turned into?
Some of it's uncanny valley.
Yeah.
But all of it is really incredible, and it's got bits of me from one photo in the past when I was in a band. Just one photo, and they got me dancing.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
We'll actually
Amazing
get
and
the
scary.
We'll get the guys
How long
on.
did it take you guys? Oh, you're off.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Silence. Yeah.
What Igor, our sound guy, is going to explain what he did and how long it took.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Igor.
Hi, Igor.
Hi.
Wow, amazing.
Yes, so for all of any video that was generated was just from a picture.
Wow.
So there wasn't any videos there, just like some screen grabs. It took each video is 6 seconds, so it took roughly 5 minutes to produce.
My God.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't know if you noticed, but the voice singing is actually Lucien.
Yeah.
Voice.
I thought it was me. Yeah. I think.
And who wrote the lyrics? An AI?
Well, it was kind of AI. We started as ChatGPT, and then I was tuning in and just adjusting roughly to get it right. So it started as AI.
Absolutely amazing and hysterical. What we do, I hope that we'll be releasing just that
as a
Christmas separate thing,
#1.
and pushing it for Christmas #1. See if we can get it off the top. Put a bit of advertising budget into it, guys. Let's get this happening now. Let's knock the Lib Dems off with our Christmas, and we promise to give all the money to charity. There you go. Okay, so now we're going on next. Before we move on, it's time for our guilty pleasure online. Right, we're all going to have a go at guilty pleasure online this morning. So I was going to say, really, my guilty pleasure online for Christmas is just going online, Netflix, Mubi, Prime, iPlayer, just and at the moment we've started to get into Gavin and Stacey. We saw Rob Brydon the other day live, and I just loved it. And one of the other actresses from Gavin and Stacey, her Welsh best friend, just
Ruth
walked
Jones,
on. Ruth
it was,
Jones
yeah.
walked onto stage, and everyone
And
just
went
screamed.
crazy,
And
yeah.
you watch this cult thing. It's a bit like the internet. Seriously, this cult thing growing from the roots up, and before you know it, this is a massive hit, and everybody is crazy about it. And we're watching the humble start in Wales. I just love. That's my guilty pleasure, is dipping into bits of Gavin and Stacey. Kieren, guilty pleasure online this Christmas.
Yeah, well, I've racked up a whole bunch of wish list things, and I hope to have the time to sit and watch a whole bunch of things and be quite lazy. But my guilty pleasure is a new TikTok thing that I looked at several times, and now I see almost nothing and it's chiropractor videos.
This is great. This is great.
You watch them, and
now steady.
And they sort of, they've even got sort of chiropractic videos for animals as well. But basically, people are in quite a lot of pain. And the classic thing is they walk in and like, ah, and then the chiropractor will do something to be a massive crack. They yell. And then they'll just have this look in their eyes like, oh, that's fantastic. And it's mildly addictive because you know what's going to happen. And so you look forward to the massive crack.
Emily, is that disturbing?
I'm going to check it out. Sounds absolutely brilliant.
It's a little bit...
Kieran stuff's always hilarious.
Watching people being tortured and then in relief is...
Yeah. But it's the payoff, isn't it?
It's interesting.
It's like they come in like
Emily,
this.
your guilty pleasure online?
Okay, mine is really nerdy and self-referential. But I thought, I feel guilty about this, so I have to say it. It's watching our stats for the internet seriously.
Oh!
on TikTok especially, and I haven't got the hang of TikTok, so every time I open the app, some other video blares out at top volume, and I haven't worked out how to not make that happen. But I have a little sneaky peek at all of our stats.
That actually touches on one of my highlights of the year that I was going to come to later. So we'll come back to that point. Thanks for that, Emily. While we're on Emily, let's deal with Emily.
So my top 3 things. First of all, for us as a business, the global signal exchange is something that has really been a huge highlight, and particularly working with the Global Anti-Scam Alliance, an amazing sort of movement, I would say, of people who are just fed up of scams and are really like much more mission-driven group than I've ever worked with before.
Now,
but also Google.
Yes.
Google have looked at our tech stuff, and for me, being a policy person in this company and seeing our technical work being looked at by one of the most technically able companies in the world, and they're like, this is amazing and you guys are amazing.
Kieren, you're a professional journalist who spent quite a bit of time working for the broadsheets and obviously the Register, many years working for the big tech journal out there. This was covered. Google did do a mention, and it was like broadly covered all around the world. But my view is that this is a sleeper, because the real impact of this is not yet known what's going to happen. And personally, I think this is quite seismic, quite a potentially huge story that nobody's really picked up on yet. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I mean, the truth is, if you think about it, is we all now know somebody who has been scammed. It's become a societal problem, and some of these scams are very serious. And there is this period now, I really feel that society is saying, okay, we've figured out, we love the internet, but it has caused a lot of problems, and these problems are now really impacting us. And I think the next couple of years is going to be a real sort of, how do we fit internet into our society? How do we start putting a little bit of constraints on it? How do we start figuring these issues out for real? And scams is just something that is ruining people's lives. So I think I'm quite excited about this one. I think if we can make this work, it will literally make life better for people.
Yeah. I mean, the Global Signal Exchange is a passion project of mine as an engineer. We put together this program and said, look, if we put enough resources in, if we get enough data, if we could do what's called measure it, which is our first step towards fighting scams and abuse, make it a sport, create leaderboards and league tables and get everyone competing to do better. I personally believe I don't know what particular action we need to take, but I personally believe there is a lot more that the internet industry can do to deal with this problem, because at the moment, for scammers, it's low-hanging fruit. It's very easy to do scams on the internet because there are lots of weaknesses in the supply chain. What we do about that, I don't know. Some people are saying I do know, and I'm saying what needs to happen, and that's just rubbish.
Well, I think what's exciting about the Global Signal Exchange is that we are talking to more than the domain name industry, and the domain name industry is like very self-referential, likes to talk to itself and others, but actually scams, if you're going to fight scams effectively, you have to be engaging with the platforms, you have to be engaging with ISPs, with banks, and the entire ecosystem that is in that a fraud journey, a scam journey. It starts with developing an identity, but it moves through lots and lots of other services before you get to the payout. And unless all of those actors are involved, you're not actually going to make progress.
Thank you.
That's the thing that I think the Global Signal Exchange nails, which others have not yet.
That's really exciting. So that's
first of three.
First of three, but that's the biggest Christmassy message, I think, from all of us, is that the internet industry, as Lord of the Internet, I'm appealing to you to work together in a Christmassy way.
Can you put your hat on if you're being Lord of the Internet?
Whenever I'm Lord of the Internet.
Yeah, I can't take you seriously until you put... There you go.
There you go. The hat is on. Yeah.
As Lord of the Internet, internet industry, I command you to work together better to solve scams and fraud and attacks. This is the most serious but Christmassy message we can say to you. Thank you. Emily, you're number 2.
So, lots of amazing guests we've had this year, and I've really enjoyed that. And one person I'd like to highlight is Michaeli Nalon, who the three of us know for a long time through our ICANN journey. And I didn't know until very recently that he'd been born in a mother and baby home in Ireland. And those stories are just starting to be told, that huge cover-up, that huge societal shame.
And it got quite a bit of traction, didn't it? Here we are on the internet, seriously, talking about the power of the internet and the stories underneath it. This is a person who drives the internet, who actually makes it happen in Ireland.
He's made a huge success of his life. He's got a great business in Ireland. He's a real leading light in the ICANN environment. And he very generously shared that story, which a lot of people wouldn't have done. So that was a big highlight for me.
Yeah. Great. Emily, number 3.
Number 3 is the podcast team. Igor, Charlie, Katie. Amazing the way that you've developed the studio and the way of working.
Come on, let's have the cheer and the confetti, please.
There we go.
Yes, our team, our wonderful team.
And the little shorts that pop up, that sort of goes to my guilty pleasure, really. The little shorts are hilarious, and their creativity, and also working with Kieren and working with you, Lucien. You're hilarious, both of you. And it's a real high spot of my week doing this. So
really nice, grateful. Really great stuff. Thank you, Emily. So before we move on to the Lord of the Internet's top 3 highlights for the year, it's time for our Tech Room 101. Let's go back to Emily and start with Emily's Tech Room 101. This Christmas, what do you want to throw in the bin forever?
I want to throw in the bin people who create technology that elderly people have to use. And I want to throw them in the bin, and I want to make them sit with somebody who's elderly and go through all of the pain that they experience in trying to make the most basic things work.
I mean, we were dealing with this. We were dealing with that. We were dealing with this with kind of access. We were working with the BBC one time as an organisation, trying to make websites more accessible.
Do you remember working with the Shaw Trust, an amazing organisation that would test technology for blind people? The plight of elderly people now, things are not usable unless you can't access services unless you go online. And for elderly people, it's a nightmare.
Mother or mother-in-law, lovely people, but if I ask them about anything that we talked about the day before, there's a blank. Kieren, how many passwords do you have?
Oh, I have none. I have a password manager. I've given up on it. I just have a password manager for all of it.
Yeah, and people that don't have a password manager because they're too old to manage the password manager, what have they got?
Yeah.
Well, my mum drives me mad. My mum has got a single file in which she just writes down in a way that only she will ever understand her passwords. But she also doesn't want to delete the old passwords because she feels like maybe she needs to keep them for some reason. So she has this singular document with this, absolutely insane way of storing passwords on it. Mind you, it's so insane that I think even if someone got hold of it, they'd have a hard time using it.
So she's very safe, actually. But
She's very safe
does she
through
know what
sheer
it is?
using her special brain to write down her passwords in a way that someone would give up after
Right, thank you.
hours.
This is a huge topic, remembering passwords, and it's a big topic on the internet. It's a real problem with security. It's a problem for disability. It's a problem for old people, and it's got to go. It's got to go into the Tech Room 101. I think I've got one that can trump this. My Tech Room 101, throw in the bin forever, and it's going to be particularly this Christmas when we're driving about and visiting different people and going to new places and going to new shops and things like that, is internet managed car parks. That is what I want to get rid of forever, is internet managed car parks. There was a story that we didn't cover a couple of weeks ago about a woman who was charged £2,000 for going over the 5-minute limit, where she arrived in the car park, parked in a space, and she's got 5 minutes to get some parking, and the bloody parking machine didn't work, and then she has to go to the app online with poor connectivity, and she blew the 5 minutes, refused to pay because the whole and there's no people to talk
There's
to.
nobody to talk to.
Because the internet is perfect and everything else is not. So,
That's sort of only tech-mediated stuff. So I had an experience like that, visiting my father in the hospice. And there was one day when it was actually a sunny day and the sun shone straight onto the touch screen where you paid for things, and it just was full of white dots like outer space.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay, so I didn't pay, and there was no way, and then I got an £80 fine.
Yeah, this is terrible stuff. This is the most serious Christmassy message we can say.
Put your hat on, put your hat on.
Boycott them. Don't let them win. Internet managed car parks. Avoid at all costs. Internet managed car parks. Avoid at all costs. I'm not even going to talk about Gatwick Airport. That was just anger management classes.
That was
anger management classes.
Basil Fawlty time. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for that. Now, finally, it's the Lord of the Internet's choice.
Am I not allowed a Room 101?
Oh, sorry, Kieren. You're not here in the studio. We just forgot about you.
My Room 101, we're talking about sort of tech-mediated stuff. My Room 101 is human-mediated tech stuff. And that is online tech forums, which I loathe, because you're looking for an answer for something. Like, how do I do this? And you go to, you think, every time I'll go on a tech forum, you type into Google, there's a tech forum. Every time I go in like a fool, expecting to find the answer. Instead, I spend an hour going through reading obnoxious people telling the person asking the simple question why they're asking the wrong question, or why they're actually wrong. The thing that they've written down isn't actually the thing that's happening to them. And every single time you'll see it, and someone will say, well, no. Before you even start asking that question, you need to ask this question. It's like, no, I really don't. I want an answer to this question. And then I know, and then they describe what's happening. So they describe it and they go, no, I don't think that's right. so I think we just need to ban online tech forums and we'll all be a lot happier. Let's just admit we don't know how to do it and let it go.
Thank you very much. Kieren McCarthy, journalist, Lib Dem candidate, wants to ban... humanitarian wants to ban all tech forums. This is great. Great stuff, Kieren. That's absolutely...
We'll all be happier.
No, we'll all be happier. That's magic. It's like our lawyer, isn't it, last week, who wanted to ban AI.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
That was great.
This is great stuff. Great. This is a really intelligent and sensible podcast. I think, Kieren, sorry, we missed the beginning of what you were chatting about because everyone was having such a laugh watching Emily just make...
complete mess of myself.
of her.
Yeah, it's like Kieren's
earbuds.
not speaking anymore.
Yeah.
I can't hear.
And loudly protested.
Yeah,
that was
on
really
the
smooth.
microphone. That was a complete. Yeah, I'm just really ashamed. I can only apologise to everybody.
Back to me.
Back to
Is
you,
it back
Lucien.
to me?
Lucien, why don't you tell us your? What are we talking about? Tech Room 101.
No, we're talking about my
His
three
three
things.
highlights.
My
Lucien.
3 things.
Okay, I'm going to put the Christmas
Dress
tree
me
hat
up
on.
like some sort of gimp, and then you
Right.
can't even remember what
I'm
we're
going to
meant to
put
do.
the sorting hat, Christmas sorting hat on, and I'm going to ask you, Lucien, to share your highlights of the year.
I promise you, it is real time. It is the
Kieren,
morning.
you tried to get rid of this. You tried to leave it under a chair, but there is photographic evidence
There we go.
of you wearing this. This was supposed to be you today, and
Yeah.
I'm still holding the flag for you. I'm wearing the
It's a
Christmas
beautiful
sorting hat. It's
thing.
a beautiful.
But
I was on a
this
very
is-
serious call that day, and the person I was talking to went, "I'm sorry, I've just seen somebody wearing a Christmas tree on their head going round in the background." I was like, "Yeah, it's Kieren."
That's what he's like.
That's what he's like. Lucien, your highlights of the year.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that very much. It's nearly 11 o'clock. I promise
Yeah,
that no alcohol has been consumed so far today, though we're nearly at Christmas. So for my number 1 was, I agree with Emily, the global signal exchange is a momentous thing that's been sort of put out there. It was picked up on many newswires, but it wasn't really picked up. I think the Daily Express, I think the Daily Mail did a whole page on it, but I think the crowd have not yet got this. And when they see this, some clever journalists will go, great, actually, I'm making loads of money covering this topic properly in depth, because I think it's a game changer. So that was my number 1. The number 2 is, I mean, a big thing for me that I love about this podcast is the team. That during the week they're sneaking away doing other things and sort of either fixing up the studio or preparing little AI videos or whatever, and they're just having a really creative, buzzy time, and learning how to do smooth cuts without great black screens happening. So I love the tech. I love the music. I know this is just bits of shit from my past. This is like being stalked by my previous self. I love tech. I love the music. I love the animation. So a highlight for me was our first podcast that featured our new animation, which brought together all of that, cutting from live feed like this into something pre-recorded, which was our intro animation, which brought together original composed music by Charlie Wickham, a fantastic animation by my son Patrick Taylor, and also Igor's magic with camera work, cutting from real to pre-recorded. And that was really exciting for me, particularly the animation, which has a bit of AI creating the Mona Lisa
so Patrick,
from a machine.
It's got Rick rolling in the shark with the undersea cables. I absolutely love it, and it makes me laugh every time I see it.
He set a style that we're seeing now in the other things, in that bits of AI, in the Christmas intro that we just saw as well. And this team are absolutely magic and just freely creating their own thing. And I think we're all going to become very, very, very rich and successful from this. And this is all part of it. For my and finally, it's something that you said, Emily, about watching the numbers. And my first real awesome moment with this podcast was we went to Ramsgate and we were just looking at some numbers it was just a little short, an extraction of the main podcast. I can understand why people don't really feel that attracted to watching 30, 40-minute podcasts. This is not prime television that's been developed for millions of pounds. We're just sitting in here and we're just talking shit for half an hour. But we went back and we watched an extraction that was about Disney executives being mean to people who had been hurt on some ride or something, and being all clever and kind of lawyerish about it. No, you can't have any because you've done banana. And and they were being really clever, but then the internet crowd just swarmed around this short, and we watched. We're going to sort of tens to hundreds of viewers to 13,000 viewers in one hour. And then on TikTok, we saw even more than that. I can't remember. It was something like 20,000 viewers for one little short.
85,000.
85,000 for one little and you just felt the power of this stuff, and you don't know what it is that makes things take off and makes things not take off, and we're just steadily building this. But that was a thrill to me to just sort of see the potential that is there. So that was exciting. This is the internet, seriously. So we're talking about internet, and we're obviously being made to dress up in stupid costumes and stuff just to make it more accessible, because the internet, would you agree, can't be, it's not Disney, it's not watches, it's not cars, it's not Taylor Swift, it's internet technology. So would you agree that it's quite a knotty subject?
Well, I also think, part of the reason we called it the internet seriously is because tech policy people seem incapable of talking about the internet without being very, very, very serious. And we wanted to try and just bring some fun into it, because actually the internet is a load of fun, and a lot of stuff that's happening is completely ridiculous.
Would you agree, Kieren? I think, we all watch Clarkson, who, let's face it, is just doing a farm, and I think the stories of the internet compared to the stories of a farm, I'm not belittling what he does. I think he's doing an amazing job, but the stories of the internet are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the very compelling stuff. I mean, this is how our lives are these days. So there is a tendency, it's why we did it, isn't it? There's a tendency to be so serious about it. And when we say serious, we mean like dull about it. Not sort of, it is some quite serious stuff behind this. But there are stories in there. We just have to communicate what's really going on and what people are trying to do to fix things and the issues that are cropping up and all of that. So that's the idea, to sort of make it a little bit sort of pull people in rather than just deadly dull approach. So hopefully we're starting to achieve that. Hopefully we are making it a little bit more accessible.
I mean, we talk amongst ourselves. We have conspiracy theories about why it's so impenetrable, why people are sort of keeping it deadly and dull, because they don't really want the spotlight on it. Anyway, that's for another time.
I love you throwing in a conspiracy theory.
Do you like it?
Well, just maybe
what's the real reason?
What's the real reason, huh?
Real reason.
Because in real life, there's so much
you
fun.
need your elf hat on for that one. Yeah.
So, I was about to say Lord God because I'm confused. Voice of God. Do we have a comment of the week this week?
Yes.
Wow.
Sort of.
Wow. I thought with all the other busy AI stuff, you were all busy.
No, I managed to cobble something together.
Said God, the voice of God.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
You've been busy. It's Christmas.
Yeah. My son was born 2,024 years ago. Right. Anyway. So we've got one comment in response to the AI companions and how scary they are. This is from Robin Roll, who says, "OMG, that's terrifying. Never thought about that." And then we have someone else responding to the Dick Van Dyke doing 3D animation. And this is from Lahe Sadrunk, who says, "Everyone loves Dick Van Dyke." Those are my comments of the week.
Well, thank you, Robin Roll.
Well, everyone does love Dick Van Dyke, to be fair.
Yeah.
And
Lahe, they do.
Yes.
Everyone loves Dick Van Dyke. It's absolutely wonderful.
Those comments are valuable and affirming. Thank you very much, both of you. We need those comments. Anything goes in this podcast. So please write down any stuff you want to say. Please follow us and subscribe wherever that is. It's been lovely talking to you all this Christmas. We're now going to take our nice, well-earned Christmas break. We've been talking about our favourite 3 things, each of us, on the podcast since it was first here. Kieren mentioned wonderful Sari Shaw. There's other stories there, but we decided not to talk about those. We will all talk about that in a controlled environment sometime, so more about that later. Number 2 for Kieren was printers. They should be thrown away forever or fixed. There's a billionaire out there who does that. Number 3 is the AI competition, which I think was fantastic fun, and how our most musical person failed to actually do as well as the others did. Then we went on to Emily, and Emily and I both agree that the global signal exchange is a sleeper, and that was really fun announcing that. We think it's had a broad but muted response, because I don't think the journalists are clever enough to understand how seismic this is going to be, and I say that with a tongue-in-cheek, because Kieren is a journalist. Number 2 for Emily was our special guest from the industry, deeply embedded in the industry, was our Michaeli Nailon, who actually made some astonishing personal revelations. And actually, rather than us all shouting at each other about structural problems with the internet or governance problems with the internet, he came out with stuff about his childhood, being brought up in a mother and baby home in Ireland. Emily, the podcast team, which was something I agreed about for my number 3. And finally, I talked about the technical animations and the wonderful work that the team are doing. So thanks very much.
Can I just point out, Lucien, that actually you stole 2 of the 3 from Emily?
Yeah, that's
right. Really funny. Yeah. Who wrote what first? Can we get some metadata and those documents? Yeah, but I love it. I love it. Emily's obviously the perfect one.
Yeah.
And I'm the thief. That's it. Well,
I had this. I was on a panel at the Internet Governance Forum yesterday, this week. And I overnight came up with an amazing analogy about the NIS2 directive, saying it was like Goldilocks, the transposition is like Goldilocks. And my audio didn't work. I was due to speak first, and I was going to kind of launch this amazing analogy to the world. And then Bertrand de la Chapelle stepped in because my audio didn't work, and bloody made the same analogy. I was furious.
Well, maybe
Did you tell him about it?
We hadn't talked about it. He came up with the same thing, and I was like, now it's like Bertrand's idea. So I can really
now
relate.
it's owned by Bertrand.
Bertrand is a smart guy.
But I'm not. I steal things.
He stole it.
Bertrand's a smart guy, coming up with the same thing.
It just shows
that
geniuses think of things at the same time.
Thank you very much, Emily. We'll leave it all on that Christmassy tone of allegations and accusations and
plagiarism.
Happy Christmas, everyone. Don't get too drunk.
Christmas.
Don't get too full. Take care.
For messing up the whole